Hi, welcome back for this last video of this series for the card game with Battle Grid. I remind you that soon will be a new series after this one, so just keep following the channel. You will see something new coming up soon. And by the way, you can vote in the description of of this video. You still available. You still have the time to vote for the next series of video, so they will appear after the one I already scheduled. So let's start away with the new and last card. The card is here. It's a retreat card, as you can see, simple arrow. With this card, we're going to push back one robot towards his base. Let's say if I'm using this card on my opponents, the card will move back 2 squares if it's possible, if there are no obstacles like other robots or buildings, or maybe because it's already at the edge of the timer. Therefore, this card will be also useful if I want to retire my card. So if I want to push back one of my robots towards my area, because maybe my robot doesn't move as fast as this one, as this card. With this card, we push 2 squares back, and therefore if the robot is like for example this one here, move only 1 square, that this card is useful because it let us move much faster the card back towards our area. So let's start straight away. Enough talk for now. So we go down in the usual event sheet board at the very bottom, where we are the function we are working in the last videos, and we're going to duplicate the satellite attack. We put here as a third condition, and this time we call it retreat. Sorry, I forgot to show you just the usual information. The name of the card is retreat. Type special information, additional information, moves opponent card 2 steps back if no obstacles on the way. And as usual, I improve by 1 the start index of this loop to create temporary robots. So no anything special, the same things we have done in the last couple of videos. So now I'll have to follow a little bit carefully, because we copied the satellite attack, but we actually need to change a lot of these blocks here. First of all, we're going to add new local variables. So I will add them here. Add local variable. This one is target underscore x, numerical, 0 is fine. And this one will be target underscore y. We need these 2 local variables because we need to keep track about the location of the card that we are targeting, and also we need to compare these values with what there is behind the actually location of the target. So that's why we need those 2. This one we can leave as it is, this condition, but we need to remove this action because we don't need this. We don't go to inflict any damage with this card. Then add action system set value of target x equals to the usual formula tile map dot position to tile x of card dot x. And which card is the card, of course, we just filter here in this condition. So the card we pass with the parameter target number, so it's the target parameter 1 we aiming to push back. Then we duplicate this, but we do with the y, and replace every x with the y. Okay, so now we know the coordinates of this card in the map. We need to add another event here that we're going to delete this, another condition, sorry, and system repeat count 2. So we do this twice because we want to push the robots only one square at a time, because if there is for example just beyond the robot one building and then beyond the building there is a free space, if we just do move twice we just skip the building, rather than we want to do this only once, because if there is a building it's not able to move at all the target. So that's why we do this twice. And all this condition here we need to move it in a different way. So first of all we need to add another sub event, and we need to type a little bit of things here, but before we just bring this inside. Okay, so first thing we check card compare instance variable card player number equals to number 1. So now we do two different conditions, one for the cards of the opponent, or anyway player number 1, and one for the player number 2. We could do in a different way, just with one condition, but it will be much complicated for you because you're still learning, so I try to keep things a little bit simple for you. This is the best choice I found out. So we add another condition after we check if the cards is the card of the player number 1 or 2. We need to check another thing, that is compare variable target x. It's greater than 0, because player number 1 starts on this side here. So if the x, so basically this column here, is 0, we can push the player much further than this, because the player is already at the edge of the map. We can push out. So it has to be bigger than 0, means that it has to be at least in this column or something more. That's why we have greater than 0. Then another condition, array map, compare at x and y. Here we write target x -1, and on the y, target y has to be equals to -1. So what does that mean? That this condition here check if you are at the edge, as we said before, because target x is the location of the card. So if you are not at the edge, means we are from here to here. But now we need to see if there is something behind, if there is a unit in this case. So just one square back to the left. So target x -1. Basically, if I'm here, I'm checking if there is a card on this point here. At the same y, so it's fine because we push only left and right. So if it's -1 means there is no robot. If there is anything between 0 or anyway, whatever the maximum number of cards you have, will be a robot there. Therefore, with this way, we make sure that we are not at the edge. We are sure there is not a robot behind the robot we want to push. Now we need to check if there is a building. So we need another condition. Again, time map obstacles. And now we are going to compare the tile. Compare tile at x. Again, we write same thing. Target x -1, y, target y. And this time we check if it's different from 3, because if you remember, that is the number of the building in the tile map. So now all this condition says, okay, if all of this is true, if the player is number 1, or the owner of the card, or the robot, and you're not at the edge, there is not a robot behind the unit, there is not a building behind the unit, then you can do this. Now this condition here, first we duplicate this line here, and let's start with the first one. First we set the value of the target x -1 and target y. These are the coordinates of the array map. Okay, so we are going to change the content in the array map to say we take this robot from this coordinate where it is now, and we just copy the same information of the robot number in this point, and then we just going to write it here, card number. So now we move from right to the left. We copy actually the same information, but at the same time we cannot have duplicated, so I can just duplicate this one, it's easier. So at this point, add the coordinate target x and target y. We say that now the value is -1 because the robot is not anymore in that point. We just move it with the previous action here. So this action, we duplicate the card, the position, and we write it on one square to the left. And with this one, we delete the original position of the robot. You can write some message. I just don't do it now for making the video a little bit shorter. No need to do any fade action, no need to do any flash. If you want, you can add here any of your special effect you want to add for this action. Just, up to you. You already know how to do it, so I'm not going to delay much on this one. Now we need to delay, so to move as well, not information of the card location in the array map, but also the vision of the card has to be actually moved as well. So in the script for our eyes, we need to move it a card x, set x to time map dot time map to position x of open bracket target x -1. So we translate as usual the coordinates in x and y coordinate as cells in pixels, and then we move the card at that x. Finally, we need to subtract one, subtract from target x 1, because now the target x that originally was set with this value here of the card at the original position is not anymore the position that was at the beginning, because we moved the card. So we need to reduce its value by 1 because we move the card 1 square to the left. Now pay very well attention, because we're going to duplicate this one for the player 2, but you need to make sure to do all the steps correctly, otherwise it doesn't work. So first of all, we replace player 1 with player 2, and that's quite easy. Now, rather than target x greater than 0, now we need to check that is less than array map dot width -1. If you remember, array map, if the map is say 9 square wide, it means that the width is 9, but the last column is the 8, sorry. Therefore, -1 give me the column number 8. So this is going to compare the column x. Then here again we need to do another changing. Rather than target x -1, since we move to the right, this time we push to the right, we have to do +1. Check if the square to the right of the target card is free, if there are no robots. So +1 is fine. And then again here we need to change this -1 into +1. Now again, for the actions, we need to change this -1 to +1. Nothing to do here, will be the same because you still just delete the previous position. Again, this -1 become +1, and then still we subtract 1 from the target. Now we can save, and then we can test. Now, before we test, first of all, I say thank you very much to everyone supporting me on Patreon. If you want to join me on Patreon, you will have special benefits depending on the tier you pay. You have you can download asset or template. You have some games I'm developing you can have then before I can release them, so you can test or whatever. So a lot of cool things. You can have my support privately if you need any help. I'm happy to help you in my spare times. And then another thing, so this is a good chance for me to say thank you to everyone that supports me. And of course we can discuss about new videos, new tutorial. Now, one thing about this tutorial here is I promise you to be able to do this with within the limit of Construct 2. There's 100 events. We are, as you can see, more than 100 events, but we have a lot of new things that you might decide to not to use it. So you might decide to don't use a special card, and therefore you'll have a lot of less events. Also, you can compact things. Like here, if you can see, you have on start a layout, empty event, another event just for this. All these events here can be until the end. You will not have this one when you have all the cards. Be just one line of start a layout. Of course, it will be a little bit not organized, but you can do it, to save a little bit online and so on. If you have Construct 3, unfortunately, you need to cut much more than this. But I hope in the meantime you were following this series. You have your license, so you can go on. Now let's go to have a look at this game. If it's working properly, we have to do a little bit of tests. First of all, let's check the card we just created is the card number 9. So we need to make sure that there is card number 9 in our deck. Otherwise, we can't push anything back. Okay, so let's see. Deck 3. First deck, the dealer. And 9 it's here, so we need to restart. Again. Okay, now it's good. We can do it. Let's get the card. Okay, let's put one robot. Okay, we got the card already. That's good. So first of all, we check that this robot moves only two squares, 1 and 2. We check if he can move back, and it's fine. Move back 2 squares. Now let's start again and make another test. Will be many tests because we need to see all the conditions, but that's what you have to do. And by the way, if you like this series and especially this video as well, please click like. And if you enjoy about my tutorial, you can also subscribe, hit the bell to receive all the notification when there is something new that's happening, so you'll be always informed about all the new video coming out. Okay, let's see now this robot here. It moves only 2 squares for 1 2 1 2 and 1 2. Okay, let's move it a little bit, try to move it to see that it's not going to be pushed on the building. So okay, now it shouldn't go back. In fact, the card just wasted. So you shouldn't use the card in this way because of course it's not effect. Now let's say again a different condition. Of course, if you want, you can have other condition that test if the unit can be moved, then do something else. So like, so for example, the card can go back in your hand. That's up to you. It really depends how you want to build your game. 1 2 3 4. Okay, let's try to see many combinations that can come out. I don't know actually where is the card. I'm supposed to maybe play it properly. Other cards until I get the special card on my hand. Okay, so we have this special card. We can see this moves 4 squares. 1 2 3 4. We try already the edge. Okay, let's see if I can put someone behind. 1 2 3 4. Let's try another condition first. Okay, now with this card here, I'm going to play this on one of my robots, this one here. The normally moves only one square. It's supposed to move 2 squares, going back, but will be the building, so we'll move only 1 square. In fact, it's push only one square back, not to the building. So now we need to test only that the card doesn't push on top of other robots, and then we are done. So we try this working on both players, at the edge of the screen, and so on. Okay. Sabotage. 1. Let's see. So I hope you can create a nice game with this thanks to this tutorial. If you did manage to do something, please let me know. I'll be very happy to see what you can do with this information you learn from me. So please share it the game if you create anything with that, with this information, because I might also be able to make a video for you if the game is a quite good state. Okay, so let's push 1, 2. Little bit strange situation. Try to get something to move. Okay, I try to push this behind, and then should move because there is number 21. In fact, it's not pushed back. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much for following me until now. This was very long series, but as you can see, there is a lot to learn from this series here. I hope you really enjoy it. The next series will be about gamepad control. Initially, I was planning to do this gamepad control in this series, but I prefer to make a new series separate for that one, so I can show you how you can use the gamepad in different conditions, not only for this kind of game here. Also, you could see if you have a joystick, you develop you build your arcade cabinet or your handmade joystick, you can still use the same information to practice with your joystick in new game. So thank you very much again. I see you for the next series. Bye.